Hi everybody, welcome to the Doghouse. I'm Ria Bow, and he's Mike Phillip from American Hook Radio in Canada's own. Thank you for joining us today.
Did you say she?
No, did I? Sorry, no, don't take that personally.
I think you did.
Yeah, I'm in a kerfuffle this end. We've had some major technical problems. I'm so sorry, but hey Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, and I want to let everybody know that we're starting a little bit late because when you're live, anything can happen, and it's just crazy because as soon as the intro music came on, my computer completely shut down, so we were scrambling to get things going again.
Yeah, I know. Hey, hi Hugh. I want to say hi to Night and Day. Who else we got? Justin Cringe Backup Chan. Gary.
Justin Cringe, great guy.
Okay, and Gary, I don't know how to say that properly. Kemper?
Well, I would pronounce it, but I'm not getting the live chat here.
Okay, it's not on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm on the YouTube channel. I just I don't see anything live.
Okay,
it says chat is disabled.
Really?
On my end, yeah.
I can see it. I can see it coming. So I'll have to handle the chat. Look, just give you guys a bit of an insight into what's going on. And welcome to the Doghouse. I'm sorry your first experience has been like this. I got to the studio, no internet. And I've set up VPN servers. I've forced it down proxy tunnels to get this one out today because Mike's put some advertising out. So how well this works is up for grabs. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Right, Mike, what's on your mind? Can you function yet or not? I'm not very good.
Well, listen, I just got the chat, and big hello to Geraldo, Gary Kemper, Night and Day Plumbing, Huge Ass, and Justin Cringe Channel. This is a new show. I've been working with this beautiful limey chick here for a little while now, and she is a wizard with video editing, so real happy to be working with her. Not only that, but we are working with Kevin J. Johnston on setting up a radio network with live content all day long. So Ria is going to be hosting a show on there as well as doing the Doghouse. So thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. We're doing our best here. The last show went super smooth and everything. I think it gave us enough confidence for Mike to reach out, for me to reach out to some other people, and then all of a sudden, this is the fourth show, and it's just all gone pear-shaped really badly, you know. Right, okay, I'm just going to run down the weather as I would usually do, what's going on around the world. Alberta -8, Toronto +7, England +3, Nice, south of France +9, Malaga, southern Spain 14, Camrose, where Mike is, -8, Cairo +21.
No, it's 10. It's actually -10 according to the thermostat on the side of the house.
Yeah, that's
the thermometer. Sorry, not thermostat.
That's twice I've been pulled up on the weather. That was you, Hugh, wasn't it?
I think so.
Cairo +21, Rio de Janeiro +24, Rome +9, Cape Town +20, Moscow +1, Seoul, Korea -4, Mumbai +28, Tokyo +7, Sydney +20, Oslo, Norway -4. Right, guys, I'm going to bring in a new thing, right? So I used to do a show where I used to do Guess the Accent, okay? So I'm going to play you an audio clip, and I want you to try and guess where this guy's from, okay? It could be anywhere, but I'm going to do one a week, and I'll play it a few times through the show. So I want to see if you can guess where he's from, okay? Oh, and
I'm all ears.
If Kevin's Facebook Live is working, so I think it's streaming out to there, would you just let us know if you're viewing this on Facebook, please? That would be really, really useful. Right, here I go. I'm going to play the accent. See if you can guess where this guy is from.
I was especially driven to do this when I saw on the internet a young girl, well, she was a teenager, very good looking, so she got a lot of hits, but her accent was not a...
What do you think, guys? Type in, where do you think he's from? I'd love to know if you can guess where he's from. Should I do it one more time, Mike?
Yeah, give it to me one more time. Can you turn it up just a hair?
Okay, so don't speak, so I'll move your volume as well. So just hold it a second. I'm going to turn it up, and here we go again. Oh, wrong one. No, I've just moved the wrong one. Here we go.
Driven to do this. When I saw on the internet a young girl, well, she was a teenager, very good looking, so she got a lot of hits, but her accent was not a...
So, what do you think? Any ideas, any guesses where he's from?
Well, my good buddy Justin Cringe says California, and I'm gonna actually go with him. Are you gonna be revealing the location of said accent at the end of the show?
I will. So okay, so we got 2 for California, right? What we got? Oh, Clueless in Seattle. Nice.
Hey, Kelly Jacobson in Manitoba. I lived in Portage La Prairie, so Manitoba, great place.
Nice. Okay. And Mike's going to be doing like a gun bit during the day, firearms bit, but we lead into that. I'm just going to carry in another story. Actually, Mike, do you want to start one off? Has anything caught your eye today, or what's going on in your world?
Yeah, okay, so I've actually got this on my phone. I'm going to be bringing this up on my phone here and reading off of it, but I think this is hilarious. Now, let me preface what I'm about to say with if 2 consenting adults can do whatever they want in private, I have no problem with that. I personally believe you should draw the line at goats for all our Muslim friends out there. Yeah, we are going to be talking guns, but listen to this. This is the headline. Pray that Prince George is gay. Clergyman wants 4-year-old royal to find the love of a fine young man. Pray that the prince is gay. Oh, Lord Jesus, please help this kid to be gay. This is ridiculous. The Reverend Kevin Holdsworth urged the faithful to pray the Lord blesses George, the son of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, with the love of a fine young gentleman. Does this sound ridiculous to you, Rhea? It does to me.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, I guess it attracts a special kind of bunch anyway, Mike.
I mean, clergyman, right? You can only guess as to his motivations, but it does get into it a little bit here. It is not just little George's love life the Reverend is concerned with. What do you care what a 4-year-old's going to do with their sexual tendencies when they hit the right age? This is just retarded. But it goes on. In fact, the reason he wants the prince, who is third in line to the throne, to be into men is so the Church of England will be forced to support same-sex marriage. When the boy becomes king, he will also be the leader of the church. Now, I, for one, actually kind of hope this does happen because I am so, my American way of thinking is so diametrically opposed to people claiming that they're royal because somebody pulled a sword out of a rock or whatever the case might be, that this actually might work out good because if he is and he becomes king, there will be no heir or successor to the throne. Bang! Ha ha!
And that was that. I know you have a real love for the Brits, though, don't you, Mike?
Well, one. You're okay, Rhea.
You're very kind, thank you. And it wasn't my fault that all this has happened. Right, we've got a couple of comments in here. We've got Hugh says the accent's South Central Alberta, California. Where else we got? We got any others? Playing the role is nothing to do with joy. Oh, okay, all right. So, okay, yeah, the clergy thing. What can you say about the clergy thing? There's been some mad stuff going on in there for time, hasn't there? I mean, and it doesn't seem as though things have changed that much at all. Right, I'll move it on to one that I've got this end.
Sure. Well, just one more thing. I just kind of ask you, wasn't the Church of England created because the Catholics wouldn't let Henry VIII remarry, so he just started his own church? Isn't that the deal with that?
I think so. That was around the era where they used to sort of whip their own backsides and rub them against the wall, wasn't it? It's a sort of that kind of era.
Right.
Yes.
They think about sex a lot. I know that.
I think so. I think it's, you know, if someone goes, oh, you can't do that, it makes me think, are you sure it's not on your mind? Are you overcompensating kind of thing? So my views are kind of there, you know what I mean? Right, okay, so here we go. Here's a news article. Kim.com announces update of his super weapon in the war against internet censorship. Mega Upload founder Kim.com has vowed to build an indestructible, uncontrollable and encrypted internet that protects people, that will be run by the people for the people. Kim.com, who is wanted in the United States for alleged illegal file sharing, promises to build his version of the internet with privacy and encryption in mind. So I kind of like that, especially because I think they're messing about with DNS servers. And you've had some hassles as well, and there's stuff going on right in the middle, you know, that the security services are doing stuff. So do you guys out there, do you know Kim.com? Have you heard of Kim.com? I use his encrypted cloud storage, so I know Kim.com is a big deal down in the Southern Hemisphere. So I thought I'd mention that. Mike, you got any more?
Well, I mean, I used to watch movies over at Mega Upload. I know that. And, you know, there's always been some pretty cool big fat guys. You got Chris Farley, John Candy. Kim.com is definitely one of them. And he's definitely got reason to go against the system when it comes to internet access, because they've dragged this guy through the mud. So respect to Kim.com.
Yeah, same as. Go Kim, and the people around him as well. They're sort of... They seem like their heart's in the right place. So, and they're looking out for the people. They're like people, if you like. So, go Kim. Soon you build it, let me know, would you? Because I could really use it. Because we've had to do tricks and stunts here just to get on the show today. Right, any other stories, Mike? Or shall I move on to another one?
Move on to another one.
Okay. US Coast Guard operates secret floating prison in Pacific Ocean. Last week, Seth Weezer, I think it is, wrote a story in the New York Times in which he describes terror on the high seas and expansion of the maritime war on drugs. The US Coast Guard is operating a fleet of secret floating prisons in the Pacific Ocean, coined Floating Guantanamo. So, God, can you imagine ended up on one of them in international waters? Who's supposed to be... What? Yeah, no, I don't like the look of that. What do you think, Mike? Floating prisons.
Well, I mean, if you're in prison, it doesn't matter if you're on a boat, in a basement, or on the 16th floor. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, you're in jail, right? Who cares? I mean, unless you get seasick, but then you shouldn't have gone to jail.
I guess it depends. Well, I sort of perceive it that there's sort of piracy and things, and when they catch them, they just take them to these floating prisons in international water. Right, let's read out some of these comments because we're whizzing by. Can you read some out, Mike?
Yeah, well, first of all, Night and Day Plumbing Solutions says, praying will have nothing to do with it. George will be what he will be. I agree. Hugh Jass says the temp is in -2 in south central Alberta. That's all he was saying. He was not guessing on the accent. Interestingly enough, I just got a private message on Twitter from my buddy Wandering Monk. It says, the monarchists don't have to worry too much about Harry. He's an illegitimate bastard and doesn't qualify for kingship. Hashtag just the facts. No fan of the monarchies in Toronto. So, floating prisons, you know what? Why don't we put them on the moon? We'll make a moon base. Why don't we throw them in a volcano? You know what I mean? Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel. My work is making us all eat halal for Christmas. I'm pissed off. Lots of lamb meat for you, buddy. You should bring your own pork chops is what you should do, and just offer them to everybody in the office. That's what I would do.
Totally. I'm loving your friends. Hey, I think you're cool guys. I love these comments.
Yeah, they're cool. They're a cool bunch of people, for sure.
We can all be degenerates together, right? I like that idea.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? Okay, I'll move on to another one. Oh, we got another one. Hugh, you're hassling me on the temperature thing. I've got to say. Do you know what I mean? I'm now going to expect everyone I do that you're going to pipe up and say, no, it's not that. It's this actually. So I need a comeback. Right, okay, I'm going to move on to another one. Russia, okay, here's a Russian one.
Oh, no.
Oh, I know, Russia. They're coming to get you, the boogeyman.
Right.
Russia will build its own internet directory citing US information warfare. Moscow intends to create an alternative to the Global Domain Name Service, or DNS, the one they moved out of the US. The directory that helps browser on your computer and smartphone connect to the website servers or other computers that you're trying to reach. This should be completed by August 1st, 2018. Right, okay, so they're going to do a thing. There's a DNS server race going on, and I've been dealing with it for a bit. I looked into it a couple of days ago. I mentioned it to Mike when we was having a private chat. And I've discovered, like, you know, when you get your internet name and at the end is .com or .net or .org, with this one, it's called .bit. And with .bit, it supersedes the DNS server. So if you get a bit shouty, or we get a bit shouty on here, being degenerates and all, then if we form a .bit internet site, you'll still be able to get to it. They can't stop you getting it to it. So it's going round the outside of that major DNS server out there. And there's also one called OpenNIC, which also does the same thing. What do you think? Do you think we're starting to get in the grounds, Mike, where we need to secure the website so people can still find it?
Yeah, I do, because, you know, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, the right to self-expression and whatnot is definitely under assault, especially here in Canada. So, yeah, the more of these new internets that pop up, that's great, because I think the one that we have someday will just be basically a ghetto and barren wasteland. So, yeah, and the more that they try to crack down on it, it'll be like playing whack-a-mole, you know, with guys like Kim.com, Russia doing it. It's the way of the future, for sure.
Totally. And when I was talking to Mike as well, the people behind .bit they were on the show before on Mike's GCM program, American Nook Radio, and his name's Michael something, and so he's kind of got some credence, a bit of credibility. He's in it for the right reasons. He's not like crooked. So I'm just looking into a .bit website to see if we can stream live out there, and if we get a bit shouty and you guys in them comments get it going on. Read out some comments, would you, Mike?
Yeah, let's address some comments. Huge Ass asked me if I could give my Twitter handle, so I threw it in the chat, and I misspelled it.
Nice.
That's how you know I'm an American. It's actually at the, not the gee, _ American Up, American UCK, at the _ American Up. Canuck, join me on Twitter. Good to have you aboard. I want to know what you're thinking. Now, Night and Day Plumbing. Good question. Mike, with regards to your feelings about the Canadian government, do you think Alberta has a big enough GDP to be able to stand on its own 2 feet if it were ever given the chance? The short answer is yes. Now, back in 1965, the government passed the Equalization Law, or Act, meaning that provinces that have to give to the federal government to be redistributed to province that don't have. Since 1965, 240 billion with a B, dollars have been taken from the province Alberta and given to the Canadian federal government in transfer payments or equalization payments to hand out to provinces that don't have. Now, I would like to point out that Alberta has never received one dime in equalization payments, but the provinces that have, the bulk of those payments have gone to Quebec, where our federal leaders usually have a bunch of cronies and buddies, and they feed that money into Quebec. The other examples you can think of are the Maritimes, who, despite receiving these equalization payments, are still broke because the government messed around with the fishing, like they messed around with the softwood lumber in BC, wrecked that industry. So Alberta could definitely stand on its own 2 feet. In fact, I had a guest on my show, Doug Force, who pointed out that the federal government of Canada is acting in de facto, meaning it is acting as if it is lawful or legal. Every single province has the right to hold a constitutional convention just like my forefathers did in the United States of America and set up their own country. Now, Canada is not a country. It's not a dominion since the Statute of Westminster in 1931, which dissolved all British colonies and dominions and let them become their own entity. We're told that Canada became a country with the passing of the British North America Act in 1867, I believe it was. In fact, in 1931 was when the colonies were released. So we were lied to about all that. And I just got kind of long-winded there. But yeah, 100%. Alberta should be its own republic or possibly even vie for statehood. A President Trump and a strong independent Alberta would be a dynamite combination monetarily wise. We could really make out like a bandit there. Huge Ass is saying Quebec is still not our friend despite having paid them all that money. I want you to understand, Hugh, it's not your average Quebecer. It is the people at Bombardier, or in English, Bombardier. Companies that take this money like shoveling coal into a furnace and don't have to perform, don't have to produce because they're propped up with money from Alberta. So your average Quebecer that wants to separate from Canada, I actually respect. Now, with what I said before, there is no need to separate because where there's no marriage, there can be no divorce.
And there you have it, guys. So has anybody got any comments on that? You opened up a big thing there, Night and Day Plumbing. Oh, here we go.
Well, Justin Cringe just said Bombardier is a disgrace. Yeah, they are a disgrace. They're an utter and complete disgrace. And they're going to get taken to the cleaners with these NAFTA talks. When you see Justin Trudeau and the government of Mexico holding private meetings over NAFTA, it's like the ugly girls that didn't get invited to the prom getting together and saying, we'll have our own party, we'll show them. Without the United States at the table, anything they do doesn't matter. Go Trump.
There you go. Big vote for Trump. We got any Trumpets out there? People that are pro-Trump? Let us know.
Yeah, let's see in the chat room. Are you pro-Trump? Let's see it.
Yeah, let's see it.
Sorry to cut you off. Go on, Reed.
Just yes or a no. It's as simple as that. Are you pro-Trump or not? Let's have a little look. What's going on? We've got a bit of a delay. I might check the other line in the chat that collects this multi-platform quickly. So I'm just going to have a quick look at that. Trump is cool.
Justin Trudeau Cringe channel says Trump cool.
Okay.
Gary Kemper, Trump rocks. I agree. Best president I've ever seen in my lifetime. By the way, everybody go and like and subscribe to the Justin Trudeau Cringe channel. Huge Ass, pro-Trump all the way, baby. I agree.
There you go. So we got some Trumps on. I'm just going to check the other chat quickly. Let's have a quick look. Are there any? No, there's no other platforms coming in, so I'm very suspicious about that one. Okay, right. Any other? Do you want to pick up anything else on this topic before we go and play the accent again, Mike?
I could go on and on about it, but Justin Trudeau Cringe, at my work we get to make ornaments for the tree. Mine will say, God bless Donald Trump. That's awesome, buddy.
Okay, guys, right, we're just going to move away from the Trump thing for a second. Anybody interested in the crypto prices? They're at the bottom of the screen. Oh, here's one from Night and Day. Do you want to read that out, Mike?
Where am I going? Night and Day?
Yeah.
I'm pro-Trump. He's a breath of fresh air to what is essentially a very corrupt setup in the States. Yeah, drain the swamp, build the wall, mega.
Greatest press since JFK.
Geraldo, Trump may be the greatest press since JFK. Agreed, Geraldo.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a big JFK fan. Big JFK fan. Right, guys, get your listening ears on and see if you can guess where this is from. And good luck with it. Here comes another take at the accent. Where is this guy? We've got 2 Californias so far, but have a listen.
And I was especially driven to do this when I saw on the internet a young girl, well, she was a teenager, very good looking, so she got a lot of hits, but her accent was not a
There you go. So, what do you think? Where's he from? Any more guesses?
I think people are saying
special.
California because he mentioned the internet, and that's the home of Silicon Valley. Could be Seattle too. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, we've got a California. I kind of get the California thing, though. I do. We've not got any more. We're waiting until we get a few more, and I'm starting to put a few clues out at the minute. But I will say, because time's running on, it's not California. He's not from California, and he is a native of where this is. So good call though on California. I kind of get that. Right, so here we go. We're moving into the gun section. I've got some news here about firearms. Yay, I know. Surrender your firearms. Government now confiscating guns from medical cannabis users. Residents of Honolulu, Hawaii were recently informed that if they use cannabis for medical purposes, they will be given 30 days to voluntarily surrender their firearms and ammunition before the Honolulu Police Department begins confiscation. What do you think, Mike? Go.
Well, first of all, I think that it flies in the face of the Second Amendment, the United States Constitution and Bill of Rights. They have no legal authority to do such a thing because they have no legal or lawful authority to restrict anyone's right to have a gun. It is illegal for felons to own firearms, but they can't really stop that from happening. What about law enforcement officers that are prescribed with select serotonin reuptake inhibitors that come with a black box warning claiming they will cause violence and suicide? If you look at SSRIs, just about every single school shooting in the United States history, there's been an SSRI or psych drug involved. But they don't want to talk about that. As far as marijuana goes, it is a plant, and God has put it on this earth. And if a man wants to rip off a bud, roll it up in a paper, and smoke it, that is his decision. It's actually going to be legal in Canada right away. I wonder if there's something similar might come up here. I don't know. I do know people that have firearms licenses and prescriptions to have marijuana due to joint pain and things like that, but it hasn't come up. But I mean, if it's coming up in Hawaii, Canada is usually more progressive than anybody else, so there's a good chance that that could come up. As far as Honolulu goes, it is unconstitutional, and whoever is proposing this needs to be horsewhipped.
I'll tell you what I thought when I read it. I thought, because there is a sort of marijuana medical use, it's starting to get more of a positive sort of tint around it around the world. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, is that the plan? You're going to let people use it, and then if you kind of catch them using it, it's going to be a civil law or something, and they're going to take the weapons away. It's a bit stinky, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. They've stated before that they want to disarm the population. Nobody has guns except for police and military, and that is where they're going to want to go with it. I think in the UK they recently had a gun amnesty where you could go and hand them in without fear of prosecution.
Okay, I get that. Right, just moving on. We've got a shout from Gary saying it's from Nova Scotia, Canada. Gary, you are warmer. So it's not California, but you are definitely warmer with Nova Scotia. Let's have a quick listen again before we move on, and Mike's going to do a gun segment, as it were. Another quick listen. Nova Scotia is closer. Have a listen.
I was especially driven to do this when I saw on the internet a young girl, well, she was a teenager, very good looking, so she got a lot of hits, but her accent was not a...
Right, okay, so Nova Scotia is definitely warmer, okay.
Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel just said PEI, or Prince Edward Island.
I don't know where that is.
I'm not surprised. It's like this big. It's a maritime province. It's the easternmost island in Canada.
Okay,
If
so
you go any further east, you're swimming.
okay, I'm with you. So that's not as warm as Nova Scotia. So right, okay.
Okay, now he says New Brunswick. He's just guessing maritime provinces.
Okay, it's not New Brunswick.
All right.
I think Nova Scotia's the closest so far. But anyway, Mike, right, guns. What we got going on? It's all yours, sweetie.
All right. Well, as you all know, I am an American and an Albertan. I am a fierce defender of gun rights. Now, I have been a licensed gun owner here in Alberta for 16 years. Okay? Now, I brought along a visual aid I'd like to show everybody at this time. Hang on.
Go on, Mike.
This is my good buddy, the SL8-4, made by Heckler & Koch. There was a debate this morning as to whether it's pronounced Koch, Cock, or Coke. I think Kevin said Cock because it's frequently on his mind. However, I have had this rifle for approximately 12 to 13 years. It has never once jumped out of the locker and killed anybody of its own volition. I have never threatened anybody with it. I've never pointed it at a human being, and I hope that I'm never forced into that position. Now, it looks scary, right? No, it doesn't. Here's the deal. In Canada, you can only have 5 centerfire cartridges to a magazine. This is not a clip. It's a magazine, okay? When you hear people in the movies talking about clips, they don't know what they're talking about. Clips are for old World War II Garens or possibly the SKS. Now, this gun is not really a great hunting rifle. It's more of a sport shooting rifle. You could hunt with it, but not legally in Canada. You need something bigger. Why? I don't know. I don't get the reasoning behind that at all. They say it's less cruel for the animal if you put a bigger hole in it. Okay. So here's the deal. The Liberal government in Canada wants to put further regulations and restrictions on law-abiding gun owners. What they did recently was they trotted a bunch of victims and family members of shooting massacres out to Parliament Hill in front of the cameras, where they held up a bunch of pictures of guns that people think are scary. Now, this round is a .223 centerfire cartridge. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
See that?
Yep.
It's not very big. Very small, actually. It's actually the same round that you would put in a AR-15 or an M4 Ranger. You could do way more damage with other guns, but what they want to do is restrict guns that look scary. Now, you can get the same round in a rifle with a wooden stock that looks like a hunting rifle. Okay? Same round. And what they want to do is demonize guns and say, oh, you don't need a gun. Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe I don't, but I want one. And as a free human being that has not committed a crime or threatened anybody, I should be able to have that. As I mentioned, I've been a license holder or PAL holder for 16 years. I am very much pro-gun. Now, Rhea, I had sent you a video clip of an American and a Brit discussing guns. Do you have that?
I do. Right, this is a new thing for me, so I'm going to do my best to do this. So let's... Mike sent me a clip, so I'm going to try and play it for you guys. Let me just bring it up full screen. And this is what it sounds like.
The tyrants did it. Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand? And that's why you're going to fail, and the establishment knows no matter how much propaganda, the Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns. My family in the Texas Revolution against Santa Anna, my family was at the core on both sides starting that because Santa Anna came to take the guns at Gonzales, Texas. Pierce, don't try what your ancestors did before. Why don't you come to America? I'll take you out shooting. You can become an American and join the Republic.
There you go. Go, Alex. God, yeah, no, I'm loving that.
I was watching that live when it happened, and that was a jump off the couch, yeah, boy, moment for me. I loved it. I really love my gun rights. And listen, I want to get into some of the proposed changes that they want to make in the coming new year. As I said, they bring out a bunch of women who are crying about the dangerous guns. First of all, gun-related deaths or crime in Canada is almost virtually non-existent. It is approximately 10 million people, and I'm guessing that that's lowballing firearms owners in Canada. Now, if you look at the crime rate, first of all, gun use is almost off the table. Second of all, it is not amongst licensed holders, okay? It's criminals, and you cannot keep guns off the street. You can't do it. Make all the laws you want. Now, I want to go over some of the proposed changes to the gun laws that they want to make. I've got them listed out, courtesy of CBC News, who is a propaganda arm of the federal government, and an expensive one at that. Number one, enhanced background checks for gun buyers. We already have that, okay? When you go and get your gun license, you take a 2-day course on safety, handling, different types of action, and you are run through a database by the RCMP to see if you have a criminal record. Also, if you have any kind of domestic assault issues or battery in the past that you've been charged with, or even if you have an ex-wife, a lot of times they will ask the ex-wife if they feel comfortable with you having firearms, and will make a decision based on hers. So as far as enhanced background check for gun buyers go, it's not necessary. We already have it. And in my opinion, they're too restrictive as it is. Number two, stronger record-keeping requirements for sellers. Number one, if you're going to a licensed gun dealer, then you have a license and you are a legal gun owner. You are not breaking the law. Why do we need a list of legal, law-abiding people when criminals don't put their names on lists or buy them legally in the first place? Just saying. Number three, tougher transport rules. Let me give you an example of how this is going to go. In Australia, they changed the gun laws a little while back where you cannot have your rifle at home. Okay? You can't have it in a cabinet at home. You have it at a range where they lock it up and sign it out to you at the range. Now, if you want to take your firearm from that range and go to a separate one, you have to pay out of your pocket for a armored vehicle company to pick it up, drive it to the other range where you can use it and check it out. Then you check it back in and they drive it back. Very expensive, very impractical, and is, in my view, tyrannical. And it's not going to stop. Look, criminals are not going to phone an armored car company and say, come pick up my gun and meet me at the bank. Okay? So this is for law-abiding people. Just like locks on doors are to keep out law-abiding people. Number four, investment in task force tackling illegal firearms. Well, wait a minute. Guns are illegal for criminals to have. Why do we need a task force if the law works? Am I right here? Rhea, am I right?
Totally, sweetie. I think when we spoke about it the other day, you sort of said you wanted to do a gun part, and I said, yeah, it's fine. And obviously, I'm from England and we've not been brought up with guns. We're not used to seeing guns. And then, as I said to Mike the other day, it's in your guys' DNA, isn't it? It's you've stood up and fought for something, and we've never done that. Does that sound about right to you, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. It is in our DNA. You know, and you heard me railing about the British Crown earlier. Well, they did it to themselves, really. They really did. I mean, if you look at what happened at Lexington and Concord and the Stamp Act, which, by the way, the Stamp Act, listen to this. King George was facing a problem in the American colony by way that men were making flyers and pieces of paper where they were posting them on trees and buildings, and they couldn't figure out who was putting up these flyers saying that America needs to be its own independent nation under God. Well, the king, of course, went heavy-handed and introduces the Stamp Act so that a soldier did not have to go to a magistrate and get a search warrant to enter your home, and so that they could just walk into anybody's house and search through your papers and personal effects to make sure that every single piece of paper that you wrote on in your house had the stamp of the king. Okay? This pissed everybody off large, and is the reason why they have the amendment against unreasonable search and seizure, because rights are not granted by men who call themselves kings and claim to have blue blood, but by their creator. That is the genius of the founding fathers. And, you know, you talked about generationally speaking, not growing up around firearms. You see them in movies, and you see them, incidentally, Liam Neeson and all these guys, America's got too many effing guns, he says in an interview. Well, any single movie poster that you see Liam Neeson on, he's almost always got a gun. I mean, he's posing threateningly like he's some kind of a badass. Then out the other corner of their mouth, they talk about the need to take them away. So that's Hollywood for you. Down with the whole disarm everybody thing. But you talked about growing up without guns around you. That's all it would take here if they were to. I think there would be a big stink if they banned them outright. So they've got to bring it in slowly and incrementally, because we do too have too strong of a gun culture here in Canada. That is slowly shifting. But within 2 generations, if nobody had them, nobody would care, and they would be taught that guns are scary, and the only people that need them are murderers and criminals. Nothing could be further from the truth, and the stats prove it. So I will keep my rifle, and if Canada ever goes down that road, I am so gone. I'm this close to it already. I'm thinking Utah, Colorado, or possibly Texas.
I could see you fitting in Texas, actually, Mike. And with the gun thing, I think it is, you said something on the last show we did, and I've thought about it ever since, to sum up some of the stories we were talking about, or some of the news clips. And you said the phrase creeping tyranny, and that's what it is. To me, everything I read is just another example of creeping tyranny. And the Honolulu thing, roll it out in Honolulu, see how it goes, then the next one, then the next one. And that's the way I see it, and I'm sure you see it the same, Mike.
I agree 100%. The only people that want to disarm you, they're not interested. Do you think politicians actually care about the citizens? No, they don't. No. All it is for is a tactical advantage over the population, because you're going to do something that they're not going to like, so you got to cut them off at the pass and disarm them. It's been the same thing throughout history. You can't legally own a gun in Mexico. Look at their crime rate. The state of Illinois came down hard on gun ownership despite the fact that it was unconstitutional. And in Chicago, we're above 600 homicides. Incidentally, the neighborhood that my father grew up in is almost, it's a no-go zone. There are more murders in Chicago than deaths in Afghanistan. Now, what they did was the Illinois government went and passed a law. Actually, I think it was a municipal law in Chicago that you couldn't have any weapons. So that was contested at the Supreme Court. So what they turned around and did was they said, okay, you could have them, but the law is that you have to have it disassembled and in a locked case in your home. Therefore, if you have a home invasion, if you have somebody break in the middle of the night to do harm to you or your family, the police are going to show up the next day and draw a chalk outline next to you and your broken down firearm. Everybody should have the right to self-protection. It boils down to this. Who owns this? Who owns this? Am I chattel? Am I a subject? Does somebody else have ownership over this body that I have limited number of years to inhabit? I own it. Therefore, if another man seeks to deprive me of it, I have every right in the world to dispatch him to the promised land, and that's how I look at it. Now, if you're going to think that way, what you have to do in Canada is get yourself an NFA membership for $30 a year. You can become a member of the National Firearms Association, which is kind of like Canada's NRA. Everybody knows about the NRA and Charlton Heston. From my cold, dead hands, right? Charlton Heston. So the NFA will provide you with legal counsel that has expert, what's the word I'm looking for? Experience at going into court on firearms cases. I'll give you an example. Unsafe storage. They'll try to get you with unsafe storage. Well, there's a way around that, and an NFA lawyer will win that case 88% of the time. Here's the deal. This gun, I'm not storing it. I'm using it. And using it can mean whether you're cleaning it or just gazing lovingly at it, which I am prone to do.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you'd finished there or not. Okay, let's take some comments. Do you want to take a couple of comments as feedback about the gun thing? I'll just do a mention on the we've got an accent thing. We've got a New England and we've got a Montreal. And the answer is no, it's not those either. So what about some gun comments, Mike?
Yeah, okay, so Cringe Channel says, are zip guns legal in Illinois? State-wise, I don't know. Constitutionally, yes. Huge Ass corrected me. It is $35 to get an NFA membership. Okay, I was off by $5. You got me on that one. Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel. My uncle in England owns some rifles. They are not that impressive, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I want you to, if you have any limited knowledge on gun ownership laws in the UK, I would like you to just give a cursory example of what you know about that. But before we do, Huge Ass says gun control works for those that control the guns. Yeah. Ria, what do you know about UK gun laws?
Well, not loads. We spoke about it the other day, and I think that farmers can have them if they've got something to shoot at and they have land to go on. And if you don't own a farm, and you know a farmer, you can apply for a firearm, and as long as you've got a letter from the farmer, anything outside of that is a no-go area, Mike.
Well, this is an interesting comment here from Night and Day Plumbing Solutions. There was a case in the UK a few years ago where a farmer shot dead an intruder in his farmhouse. The public outcry was so strong in favor of his actions, the law found it impossible to commit him. Beautiful. That's what needs to happen. The general public needs to get behind somebody when they use a firearm to protect their life, liberty, or property. And when I say property, I'm also talking about their family, okay? And I'll explain the concept behind that. I have a wife. She is my wife. That makes her my property. Now, the flip side, I'm her husband, and so I'm her property. So protecting your life, liberty, and property is the bottom line of any legitimate legal system. And in fact, comes from the Magna Carta and the King James Bible. We had a similar situation here in Alberta where some guys broke into a guy's farm, his shacks, and stole some stuff. Well, he chased them down and shot them. He went to jail. The public was behind him. The thinking was that if he had done it while on his farm and under threat, he would have been fined. The Crown is going to go after you no matter what you do. There was a case in Ontario where a gang of young men were standing outside of a house trying to get at this man's daughter, and they were going to burn the house down. He stuck a rifle out the window and fired a shot into the air to chase them away, which worked, and the RCMP came in and charged him. Nobody got hurt, but there could have been loss of life if he had not taken that course of action. So what we need to happen is, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of the Conservative Party of Canada, but they did elect Andrew Scheer as their leader, and his platform, if we have to have a de facto government, is the most attractive one to me because he's talking about repealing a lot of these laws. So if you can get involved politically, get involved in your Chamber of Commerce, your local municipal government, and also go find somebody that's scared of guns and is indoctrinated by Hollywood, and get them to the range and get them to shoot, because they'll find out that, number one, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. You can make a dartboard on a target on a piece of cardboard and play darts, keep track of your points. I had my kids shooting guns when they were 6 years old, and they are very respectful around them. They know how to handle them. They know how to handle them safely, above all, and it's just not a big problem. Women. I've noticed that women are usually better shots than men. And I'm telling you, Rhea, I've got a relative that's a very young girl, and when you take her to the range, her mother has pistols and a restricted license. This little chick doesn't even look like she's aiming. She just kind of... It's the weirdest thing. But she hits the bullseye every time. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. But, yeah, women. A 100-pound woman with a 9mm Glock in her purse has just leveled the playing field against a 350-pound rapist. I have relatives that, when they go jogging in Cincinnati area, have a small Glock in their purse. And for anyone to try to cause them harm or steal from them, it's going to be a bad day. Rhea.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know too much about the gun thing, but would I be comfortable walking around with a gun in my handbag? I guess if I was in that culture, yeah, I'd, if I felt threatened, maybe, yeah, it would feel odd. But at the same time, yeah, I'd rock a machine gun or something, but I probably wouldn't be allowed to have one of those. Whether I'd be able to hit anything is another story altogether. Right, Mike, we're going to go past the time, but hey, we can do what we want, right? There's no restrictions. Any other calls?
I want to know where the accent's from.
Right, okay. Let's read out a couple of comments before we go to the accent. Since that case went to court in the UK, the law... Oh, it just moved. The law has been modified to allow people to defend their homes with reasonable force. Reasonable is as long... I can't read that very well. String, but set as a precedent. Do you want to take a couple? Hugh's there as well, and Justin, Trudeau Cringe channel.
Hugh is critical of Andrew Scheer. So am I. You would not know who that is, Rhea, but our conservatives in Canada, as far as leadership goes, would not even pass as a Democrat in the United States. As far as being a conservative goes, they're far from it, by my standards anyway. In terms of limited government interference in your life, they just don't have it. But, like I said earlier, if we have to have a de facto government and nobody wants to take their rights in their own hands and hold a constitutional convention, then I'm going to hold my nose and vote Scheer, because at least he's not going to go as far as the Liberals are with disarming law-abiding gun owners. Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel says, women are great with sniper rifles. The men can stand in the front with machine guns. Yeah, great. Keep them out of harm's way. I, in fact, don't think that women should be put into frontline combat. I really don't. And it's not because I'm a sexist. I just don't think they're built for it. I mean, can you imagine being in a trench in World War I, Rhea, with some of the feminine hygiene issues that women have to deal with? That would be unacceptable. And, I mean, you know, in Israel, they do pretty good. There's lots of very fierce women in the IDF. Kurdish women have stood up to ISIS. So, I mean, I've got mixed feelings on it. I think, honestly, men should be left to combat and women should be at home, because they are what's most important to raise the other thing that's most important, and that is your children. I'm not being a sexist. I just think as far as perpetuation of the species goes, that's how it should go. Another comment here from Gary Kemper. Armed police to escort joggers in Swedish city for protection from, he says Breitbart, but I'm assuming refugee. I'm assuming that meant refugees. Yeah, that's just it. See, you know what? Okay, let's make a deal with the government. You want to let in all these refugees? Fine. Only if you restrict, completely remove any restrictions on guns to the public. If that happened, these guys would behave, right? But Sweden is completely disarmed, and they've been taught that guys are supposed to be feminists, and they've been completely cucked, and the rape rate is off the charts. So, yeah, I don't know how they're going to have enough officers to be at every single park to prevent a rape, but at least they're taking some steps. Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel, women under 30 shouldn't go to war. They should be making babies.
Should I be making babies while you're on the front line then? Oh, who would I have to make babies with?
Yeah, right. If we're on the front line, then the draft dodgers are going to have their way with them.
It would be, I'd be looking out for the draft. Well, he's got a bit of a limpy leg or something. He'll do.
Right.
Right, I'm going to tell him, if I do that, I'm going to tell him that Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel said it was the thing to do. Oh, what else we got?
Oh, good comment here. Corraldo24. Societies that keep the women and children from the battlefield, like our First Nations, were more civilized and thriving. Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree. Child soldiers is a tragedy. I read a figure. Most countries that have child soldiers, between the age of 5 and 12, the most battlefield casualties that they inflict are on each other, because they're kids, and kids are stupid. Not necessarily stupid, I guess, but inexperienced. They're kids. They need to be taught. They don't know anything. I mean, imagine a child with a Kalashnikov set on 3-shot burst. Some adults have a hard time with it the first time. So if it's an automatic or has a 3-shot burst, guess what's going to happen when that kid pulls the trigger? It's going to go straight over. And who's that going to kill? The guy next to him. So that happens a lot. And, yeah, a society that does not protect its most vulnerable members, meaning women and children and the elderly and sick, tend to go down the drain fast. Now, are our women in our society worth protecting anymore? I would say some, not all.
I am.
You are. Rhea is definitely. Oh, yeah, I'd throw myself on a grenade for you, Rhea. I'd stick my head in the shark's mouth.
Oh, sweetie, and I'd cook you a lovely meal, even if you come back in bits.
I think I've done the guns thing to death, and just get into gun culture. Discover your heritage. Seriously. Do it lawfully, okay? Do it lawfully. Get yourself a license. Take the course. Keep them stored properly in your house. And take up your heritage as a North American. As Rhea mentioned, it's in our DNA. go out and shoot gophers. Do you know what happens to a horse at a dead run if it steps in a prairie dog hole? It's going to snap its leg, and it's going to have to be shot. Therefore, if you do not go get a .22 and shoot prairie dogs, you hate horses, you bastard.
And there you have it. Right, so close out on the gun section before we move on, Mike. Is that the closeout? Will that do us?
That's the closeout, yeah. If anybody wants to make a comment, go ahead. But I could go on for 6 hours on guns. I think I got everything I wanted to say out.
Yeah, when I spoke to him, when I saw him yesterday and he showed me his gun, right? It's not a euphemism. Right. And then I saw him hold it and he like cuddled it. It was like a special thing. And it's like, oh, right, that's a special thing. You need to respect the special thing and all that kind of stuff. So I find it fascinating to listen to, and people, you know, not familiar with that kind of culture, with that in their DNA, where they rose up and took on the baddies, then I guess it seems pretty alien. Right, so we can move on to a story or the accent. Oh, we got some comments. Great show, I'm a fan. Hey, Justin Trudeau. Cringe channel, good for you, sweetie. Come and join the Doghouse family. And the last show, Mike, we forgot to put something in the Doghouse, so we got 2 times Doghouse today. And what else we got? Good advice, Hugh Jazz. Good advice, Mike. Hugh's on the side. Right, we'll have another stab at the accent before I move on to some other news oh, we got another one as well. Another news articles. Let's just take that one. Can you take that one, Mike? Night and day.
Night and day. The long and short of most refugees entering Europe would point toward the fact that they are so culturally different they're never going to fully integrate. No, they're not. And like I said earlier, men in Sweden have been taught to be a bunch of little bitches, and these guys from Africa are going to come in and kick their ass all over the place and rape their women. Of course they are. That's how it's going to happen. You know, if you're from Syria, listen, my co-host on American Hawk Radio has lived in Syria, has lived in Lebanon. All this LGBTQ blah, blah, blah that was being forced on us, our government wants to say we need to let these refugees in or we're intolerant, and we need to accept this whole LGBTQ thing or you're intolerant, which whatever, adults can do whatever they want. I don't have a problem with that. But here's the thing. These guys that are coming over, in their culture, it is not acceptable for a guy to run around wearing a dress. And they're going to come out hard against it. So it's almost like setting up a society for failure, and they know damn well what they're doing. Don't give them plausible deniability by saying that, oh, they're just stupid or they're crazy. No, they're taking us down. They know what they're doing. And like I said, get involved politically, get the word out, get people over to my show. Let's get the conversation going. Spread this show on your social media channels. Once the YouTube Live is done, it'll be posted at this channel. Subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all of you joining us in the chat. That's what makes the show. Not just me and Rhea, not my chroma key, not even this rifle. It's you, and I salute every single one of you.
Yeah, and I'm on board as well, guys. Thank you for joining us. It makes a world of difference. And we moved heaven and earth. I did. Oh, excuse me. If you know the technicals, I had an hour of headaches and numbers and VPNs and forcing in port tunnels to get around the world because they're doing stuff to the internet on the DNS to sort of, they've kind of screwed things up for us. Hey, no problem, Justin Trudeau's cringe channel. You're very welcome, you know. I'd like to know your name though, right? I mean, I keep, you know, yeah, just rock your name in there, would you? Just to give us some idea who you are as well. We've got Multi-Merkles.
You can remain anonymous if you want.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Or make one up. I'll call you, what is it, Justin Trudeau.
Are you hitting on him, Rhea?
No, I just like to know sort of who it is. Do you know what I mean? Easy, Tiger, easy. Just want to know. If you want to stay anonymous, that's fine. Yeah, that's not about it. But here's a internet hug for saying thank you. Right, so we're going to move on. We're going to have another stab at the accent, you know. Right, so here we go again. You know what it's not. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to lift the volume up, so don't speak for a second, Mike, so you guys can hear it. Where's this dude from? Okay. Right, here's another one. Oh! Bad buttons. Here we go.
driven to do this when I saw on the internet a young girl, well, she was a teenager, very good looking, so she got a lot of hits, but her accent was not a...
Right, so what do you think? Shall I play it again?
Jewish.
Which side? No, don't even go there. Not on this show. No, please. That's another show. That's another show. Right, here we go. We're gonna cover. Let me see you cuddle your gun again. Hold it like you did. Yeah, that thing. That's what's going on. Look, that's like a that's your mistress, man. That's what that is. That's your mistress
If it were not a violation of God's law, I'd make it me wife.
And do you know what? You go and do it and tell everybody about it. Right, okay, so... All right, I'm going to play the... We got any more on the accents? Have a great weekend, guys. Justin Trudeau. Can I call you Jack? That's easier to say. Hey, Jack, have a great weekend and join us again, you know, on the Doghouse. Right, okay, so we've rocked past the hour by a mile. I've got a segment that I'm calling Mike Let Loose on the World, and that's what that just was. Mike Let Loose on the World. So Mike's got his own segment, and he can just rock it as long as he wants. You know, if people are going to join us and stay with us and watch the programme, we'll stay on and we'll just keep it going, because why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? Right, we're going to move on to another story quickly, unless you want to pick up on a story, Mike.
I don't. I do have some appointments coming up here, though, so I am going to have to wrap it up soon. But go ahead, Rhea, and I'm dying to find out what that accent is. Oh, by the way, Karen in Mississauga wants Kevin J. Johnston for mayor, and we're going to be pushing that. We want to help you with that. Absolutely. And Rhea's going to be involved as well. So go ahead there, Rhea, with what you were going to do. Next topic.
Okay, I'm going to whiz through this. Another news headline. Private companies look to cash in on Homeland Security as they bring facial recognition to the US borders. In a crowded conference room earlier this month in Monello Park, California, representatives from the company around the world listened intensely as officials from the Department of Homeland Security explained the bidding process for contracts to develop facial recognition capabilities at land borders. Is coming, guys. Is coming, and what do you do? Do you know what I mean? What are your thoughts? Facial recognition. Should we tell them to stick it, Mike?
That's something you're going to have to get back to me on, because it's so nuanced. I can't just take up one position or the other.
Okay, that's fair enough. Right, we're going to move on because we're going to start wrapping this thing up. We were having good fun, guys. Come and join us again. It's looking like Wednesdays and Fridays. Mike and I will be on. I'm going to be on other days with other hosts as well, but it's looking like Mike and I will be on Mondays and Fridays at around 11 o'clock Eastern, around that kind of time, or wherever it is. I think it's, 9 o'clock Mountain, 11 o'clock Eastern, something like that. Right, so we've got to put something in the Doghouse. I'm going to leave out the rest of the news. Why? Because I can. Because I've got quite a big article and it's going to go on, and you used up all the oxygen, right, on the guns. So, which is cool.
Sorry.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Just getting it out is a good thing, right? It's like therapy, isn't it? Right, okay, the Doghouse, Mike. Come on, we've got to do ×2 because we didn't do it last week. I'm ashamed, I tell you. But one thing for the Doghouse. What you got?
Okay, first of all, Justin Trudeau being the head of the Liberal Party of Canada for all of the stupid things he does. They're too numerous to mention right now. Second of all, the state of Hawaii for acting unlawfully, trying to take the Second Amendment rights away from people who happen to want to smoke a doobie. So Justin Trudeau in the state of Hawaii, you're in the Doghouse, bitch.
You're in, bitch. That's it. And if he pulls the shutter, you're never coming back out again. So I'm going to leave a bit of room. If Trudeau was to sort it out, which is kind of not going to do, then we don't have to pull the chain and just put him into the guillotine. But Trudeau, you're in the Doghouse for being, as Mike says, a bitch. So you need to sort a man up, grow some, say no to the ones, and work for the people and not for the powers above that shouldn't be, as it were. Right, me, I'm kind of going to put myself in today because I really struggled to cope when I got into my studio and things didn't work and I was struggling under pressure. So I'm kind of going to put myself in today because I started the show. I called you she apparently, and I'm sorry for that. I'm in a complete pickle, and you know, there's a lot of stuff in here to do what you're seeing, guys, and my mind was just going 1844.723 trying to get this show out there because Mike had put the word out to be good to you guys, you know, and thank you for joining us. Right, so I've put myself in the doghouse for one, for not coping very well, and I'm going to stay home making babies and pick the limb passes, although I could do with someone pretty sturdy. And you notice that we're rocking the leather jackets, right? I'm rocking the leather jacket for the doghouse because it makes me feel like a rebel, you know, it does. And unless I find something else, I'm going to wear my leather jacket for the doghouse. Can I
make some suggestions?
Yeah, go on then.
Thong in a bikini?
What? Maybe in the summer. No, I didn't say that.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay, and you agreed that you would sing Jolene live on air in the style of Johnny Cash at some point. So don't forget that.
Jolene, I'm begging you, please don't take my man.
How good is that? That's brilliant. Right, okay.
That's actually, I just threw up in my mouth hearing myself do that.
Right, so we've got to do some comments. Look, we've got some lovely comments. What else we've got going on? Let's get down this. We've got to close this up.
Yeah, the Night and Day Plumbing actually nominated the BBC and British media for talking about this royal engagement for the doghouse. You know what? We just need a bigger doghouse. Justin Trudeau, the Royals,
TARDIS,
Rhea, they can all hang out in the doghouse together. Although Rhea will be the most masculine out of all of them, put next to Justin Trudeau, and that is not a knock against you, Rhea.
None taken, sweetie. He is a bit of a bitch, isn't he? So right, so you've got one more to go in, Mike. What you got for the doghouse?
Oh, the other one was the state of Hawaii.
What, the whole
We're
thing?
We're going to need a real big doghouse.
Why?
Well, for trying to take gun rights away from people that have medical marijuana permits. Remember we were talking about that?
Oh, the state of Hawaii, not Hawaii.
No, the state government.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I get that. So what do you think, guys? In there? I'll go with that. They've had some tough times with the whole GM food thing in Hawaii and all that kind of stuff. Right, for me, while I'm on GM food, and I've got one more for the doghouse. If you guys want to put something in the doghouse, just put it down there. Keep it short so we can wrap up the show. And I'm going to go with, I had this in mind. What was it? It was for people not checking out CharlesAurtel.com because he's got the dirt on the Clinton Foundation and nobody's picking up and nobody's listening, saying, look, here's a guy who's got the dirt on the Clintons to sort this thing out, and they're not doing it. So you lot that are not going to CharlesAurtel.com, he's got the legal dirt, then I'm afraid you've got to go in the doghouse. I'll let you out if you go and check it out, but you've got to check out this guy Charles Aurtel. Right, a few comments and I'm going to close out. Mike, would you read a few comments, please?
Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel says, awesome! K. Geraldo, performance review mentality of crowing execs say things like that. Agreed. Hugh Jass, thank you for the show, Mike and Rhea. Hey, no problem, buddy. Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel put a little heart in one of these up. I think that was when I mentioned your wardrobe possibilities.
Okay.
So, Night and Day Plumbing, great show, guys. Keep it coming. Oh, we're going to keep doing this, and it's going to get better. Trust me. Hugh Jass, follow me back on Twitter, please, Mike. You got it, buddy. I'll do that right after we're done here. K. Geraldo, Rhea, you could coach on handling it British classy like while rocking the leather.
Check it out, guys.
You know, that British accent on a blonde is the sexiest thing ever, I'm saying. Huge ass, does Rhea have Twitter? Rhea, give everybody your Twitter handle.
I don't know it. Oh, no.
You don't know it?
I don't know it.
Let me look it up. I've got it right here.
Yeah, Mike, you do that. Right, I'm going to do a quick closeout. Mike's going to cover my sorry ass for not having that ready, but thanks for asking, Hugh. I'm on minds.com. Just type in Rhea Bow. You've got me on YouTube, which is just starting. I think we're at the giddy heights of about 10 followers. Ooh, back off, crowd. But we are streaming out to 15 lots of platforms, and I hope Kevin's Facebook's working as well. We're going out to China, Vietnam, India, Central and West Russia, you guys over there on all these different platforms. So this is going out to a lot of different places. So there'll be messages. Let me just check the other message board as well. Let me just have a quick look. Where are we? We're there. I can't see any, so we'll ditch that. And right, so what we got to close up with? If you've got any news that you want us to talk about and you want to be a part of, if you want to put stuff in the doghouse, have a think during the week till you catch us on Wednesday next week. Bring it. Let's find out what you want to go in the doghouse. That would be great. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And what else we got here? Let me close out here. Right, I want to do a shout out. I want to do a shout out for a YouTube channel. She's lovely. And the YouTube channel is called Really Graceful. And I think you guys will like this. She does the research. She's palatable, easy to deal with. Does a lovely short edited video, 8 to 10 minutes long. And her name on YouTube is Really Graceful, and her name's Grace, and she is lovely. Check out some of her content. You'll find it on Minds as well. Don't forget to check out the Dean Blackman show. And what else are we looking for? I'm looking for someone who can write JavaScript as well. And right, here's the closing one, right? This is quite important. Excuse me. I've got a possibility to invite a lefty on the show, right? I know, but hear me out. Is it a bad idea or a good idea? I've done shows with this guy before. He calls himself a libertarian, but I see him as a lefty, you know. We did some entertaining shows, and I can't get through to this dude, you know. I cannot get through, but I would need you guys' help to bring up questions where I drop the ball. Mike could be good at it, but this guy is like got like an alien shield, and I can't get through to him. I've got an opportunity if I want to bring him on the show. Should I bring like a liberal lefty on the show, or am I just, is it a bad idea and you guys are going to string me up? So we need to check that out. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, I think it'd be fun.
What do you think, guys? We need your help out there as well. Yeah, I'll follow you on Facebook, on Twitter, Hugh. No problem at all. I've been on Minds for 2 years. Okay. Do you want to read some comments out, Mike?
Well, I think that you've got them all. Huge ass, I'm on Minds as well. American Uck Radio on Minds.com. Oh, here's one. Gary Kemper, talk about British City Hall has followed the growing European trend of dressing up anti-terror barriers as fun Christmas decorations in an effort to hide the ugly barriers. Yeah, well, if you got to have them in the first place, there's a reason, right? I mean, you can call them, you know, happy, fun, super lucky, special thingy-dingy. In the end, it's there because you let in too many people with unchecked immigration. Gary says, I think Mike is right. It would be fun. Oh, we need the lefty on. I'll be nice, I promise.
Well,
Really Graceful follows me on Twitter, Huge Ass says, so he knows who you're talking about
wow,
already.
she's cool, right? Yeah, we need you guys out there. Maybe I'll hold back until there's a few more of us in the Doghouse family. A big love to you all, guys. Always. I appreciate it.
Hey, where was the accent from?
All right, I'll play it one more time. You can have a few shout-outs. Well done, Mike. And see what you make of this. Don't speak for a second, Mike, so I'm going to turn your volume up. Right, have a listen to this, and then I'll reveal where this dude's from. Have a listen. Oh, it's the wrong one.
driven to do this when I saw on the internet a young girl, well, she was a teenager, very good looking, so she got a lot of hits, but her accent was not a...
Right, I'll play it one more time. We'll have a few more guesses and then we're done here. Right, one more time.
Driven to do this when I saw on the internet a young girl, well, she was a teenager, very good looking, so she got a lot of hits, but her accent was not a...
Right, so what do we think? We got any more shouts before we close out here?
I got a text message from a buddy. He says Brooklyn and Hawaii. And that's my buddy Scott. That's my shooting buddy.
Hi, Scott.
And Scott is awesome, and he thinks you're hot, Rhea. So we'll
I'll let you
ship him
take me
over
for
to you
dinner
there.
one day, honey.
There you go.
Right, okay, so we've got Brooklyn, Hawaii. Anybody else? Anybody else before we got... Well, we've overdone it by a mile, but anybody else? Anybody else? Right, okay, here we go. He is from Toronto. He's a native born and bred from Toronto. So there you go, guys. That's what it is. Right, I'm going to close it up there. Mike, do you want to close out before I do the finals?
Well, I would just like to say thank you, everybody, for coming along. And the purpose of this is to create good content, good media. We are bombarded with left-wing propaganda all of the time. And what we got to do is, we've got the show with Kevin J. Johnston. I've got Americanuck Radio, the Doghouse with Rhea Bow. We want to cut through the bullshit and give you guys good stuff to watch and listen to that you can interact with. Call me up tomorrow on Americanuck Radio. We're live 2 to 4 Central Standard Time. Call-in line is 855-660-4261. You can listen live at my website, americanuckradio.com, and we have updated news stories there all the time. You can actually contact me at americanuckradio.com just by hitting the contact button, and there is a archive of all shows posted under podcasts with the network commercials edited out. Thanks for coming, everybody. Bring your friends next time, and we'll definitely be including you on the conversation. We'll see you next Wednesday on the Doghouse, tomorrow on Americanuck Radio.
And that's 11 a.m. Eastern we'll be on usually, provided we don't have any more technical problems. Justin Trudeau Jack says, oh crap, I have the same accent, so I'm guessing he's from Toronto.
It doesn't sound that bad.
Oops, what do you do? Right. Is it possible to post links in the chat? Yeah, I think so. I mean, the video will go on up afterwards. God, it's on so many platforms, you wouldn't believe it. You can drop it in anywhere, Gary. Yeah, do what you like, I don't mind. Do you know what I mean? Just don't be mean about us, if you don't mind. Right, guys, that's it for today. We've shot over time by a mile. It's because we love you guys around. Again, Wednesdays and Fridays, 11 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Eastern, we're going to be around. Love and peace to you always. Bring something to the Doghouse, and I'll work on the lefty guy and see if he's up for like being thrown to the wolves. Until then, I'm going to play you some music. I'm going to put a screen up to show you some of the topics that we're going to be dealing with. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely weekend. Love and peace from me, Rhea Bow. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.